responders finish their evaluation. That's what they're doing right now, their initial evaluations. I think we'll have some more data for you, but that's not a concern that we have right now.
You're looking live at the latest news conference from emergency managers on a chemical leak involving a train car this afternoon in Whitewater Township. Let's continue listening in.
The evacuation order is in place now, and I want to keep it there until there's not a concern for that anymore. So as long as that's being adhered to, there shouldn't be a concern for anything like that.
When could we foresee an update about the air quality in the area?
I think in the morning. That is being done as we speak. The air quality testing is being done. And I think later this evening, early in the morning, would probably give us a better point for some data from that.
So is the valve completely closed and there's no leak still going on, or is there currently still a leak? And when did the leak start, that you know?
I'm not sure the exact time this afternoon. It was early in the afternoon. It's not leaking now, so that's why we're monitoring the car, because it's not leaking, and we just want to make sure it's stabilized. That's our goal, is to stabilize it, and that's where we're at right now. So the next steps are kind of unknown. This is the first parts of our evaluation, and that's what the first responders are doing.
From the public safety standpoint, the road closures that we have in place are going to remain in place. The residents that have been displaced have been taken care of. If there's a resident who has a concern or hasn't been taken care of appropriately, this community center will reopen again at 8 a.m. To our knowledge, all residents that have been displaced have been taken care of, and we've got no one else waiting for any type of aid per se. The school that's affected within the immediate area, the Three Rivers School, has been closed. Parents have been notified. It's just that school, not the entire school district. Road closures remain in place. There may be some other impacts to recreation facilities if there's a park or a recreation thing that someone goes to that's within that evacuation area. Again, that evacuation area is going to remain in place. It's a half-mile evacuation area, and so the wireless emergency alerting that we've already done, that bubble, as we talked about, that notification bubble, as people travel in or out of that, they'll receive that notification again until we send an all clear. And as we talked about earlier, as soon as we have an all clear from the railroad representatives in conjunction with public safety professionals, then we'll make that all clear notification so that everybody's aware that it is safe to go in. So the best advice I can give folks right now is to maintain the status quo, what we've been doing for the last couple hours. Stay out of the area if you're not in the area, and that evacuation order continues for the time being.
Yeah, just to expound upon the staying out of the area, and this is going to be a long event. It's not going to be short. We'll know more in the morning. We'll provide more information as we get it. So if there's no other further information, I appreciate y'all's time, and we will share it as soon as we get it.
Do you know approximately how many residents live in the evacuation area?
We had mentioned earlier that there was approximately 210, 220 households. The specific number of residents, I can't speak on that.
Do we know exactly what led to this leak yet? Is that still being
That's still being evaluated. Yeah, the crews will be doing that evaluation once they mitigate the event.
And sir, if you could also, I know this has been a long day, but could you break down maybe a timeline of everything that's happened leading up to right now, just so that's laid out for everybody?
Initial notification came from the local fire department. Once we were notified, obviously start to call first responders, and travel places and resources were started to move into the area. The air monitoring began, I don't know the specific time, but in the last few hours, I'll say, the last 3-ish hours, don't hold me to that, but recently in the last few hours. And the responders are evaluating. They're at the scene, at the car. Now that we've moved all the other traffic away from it, they are at the scene evaluating it. That's really about the best timeline I can give you right now.
And no one has been exposed that we know of to the styrene chemical at this time?
No.
Have you talked to any of the employees who maybe were on the train at the time? What have they told you?
Everybody's safe. We wherever our employees that weren't, there were no employees at the yard at that time, and the employees that were working on the railroad, we cabbed them home directly. We got them off the train and sent them home directly, and did not ask anyone to go back to the yard. The only ones that are there are the responders and the managers of the railroad right now.
And what was their condition, the employees? How are they doing?
Pardon me?
The employees who you cabbed home, how are they doing?
Oh, everybody's fine. Everybody's in good spirits. Yeah.
Do we know the time that the train car pulled into the area?
I'm sorry, I don't.
And then earlier at the last briefing, you guys had mentioned some people did seek medical attention. Do you have an update on that? Was that related to
We
this?
do not. We do not.
And just to clarify, you said the leak has stopped, but is the danger over? I mean, is it the valve shut? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how the leak has stopped. Is it because there's nothing left inside? The valve has been shut. Can you give me a little bit more information on that?
I can't right now. That's what we're evaluating.
Okay.
The leak has stopped. It is not leaking currently. I don't know why that, or I don't know how right now, because that's what the first responders are evaluating actually. So I think our next briefing, I'll be able to share a lot more detail on things of such nature.
Okay. Do you know when your next briefing is?
More than likely, at this point, because it's going to be a slow, methodical process, we're looking first thing in the morning. I don't know if it'll be 7, 8, 9. I'll get with the command post and we'll define that then. And we'll make sure we get information out to the media so that you guys are up to speed on what to expect and when.
And just to touch on, finally, her question, a lot of people probably worried about the uncertainty, they're nervous right now. Do you have any words of maybe reassurance for them who are wondering when they're going to get back home, who are just kind of scared at the moment?
Yeah, as far as words of encouragement, continue just to stay out of the area. We do feel that we've crossed over a hurdle with regards to separating the car from the rest of the train, so that was a big step. We're continuing to do our task with regards to the monitoring, and then the mitigation teams are here to do their thing, so yeah.
Did this come out of the safety valve, or was it, because a lot of us don't know how train cars work.
Would you ask me that again? I'm sorry.
If it was coming out of the safety valve, or what exactly?
It's a pressure relief valve.
Okay.
How many cars total were part of this train?
29, I believe.
And can people still seek shelter here at Whitewater Township, the community center?
As I'm told that the community center is to close at 10, I would have to talk with officials to see if that's changed.
Were the other rail cars carrying any other substance? Were they also carrying styrene? What else were they carrying?
There were other rail cars that had styrene in them, so that was one of our first priorities, was to remove everything that was in close proximity. That was our first move when we arrived at the scene.
And again, just to reiterate, so far it was just the one rail car that had any sort of leak to it.
That's accurate.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, we just got word from the township administrator that the township building, the community center, will be open for residents of Whitewater Township all night.
And an important note is this is a very close-knit community. Folks know each other very well, interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, and so they're very good at taking care of each other already. And so we've taken care of all the residents that we're aware of that have been displaced. And but despite that, township officials will remain on site overnight in case there is someone else that has a specific need. I think a more important thing for you to also broadcast is to warn folks that are used to traveling US 50 and traveling through the area. I think it's very important to note that these road closures are going to be in effect for quite some time. And this is a very highly traveled, it's a U.S. route, so it's very highly traveled, but there's plenty of detours around. It's very easy to get around on the interstate highway. So check with your ways, whatever your normal means of checking with your commute before you leave home. Just check in on that to see how things are, how traffic's flowing.
Yep. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As we are recapping what is going on with this last press conference, a separate rail car that was a part of the train, that rail car that was a part of the leak has been taken apart and is only, I should say that there was about 29 rail cars a part of this train, and now the one car that had the leak is now separated from the rest of them. So that's Whitewater Township, Katie Amrine, Local 12 News.